next up, we're going to have an interview with TipRanks CEO Uri Gruenbaum, led by Yahoo Finance columnist Rick Newman. In this next quick fire round, please join me in welcoming Uri and Rick. Give it up.
Hi guys, I'm Rick. He's Uri Gruenbaum.
Hi everyone.
You're running a thing called TipRanks. Why don't you describe what that is?
So TipRanks is a fintech company located in Tel Aviv, and we developed a tool called the Financial Accountability Engine that basically aggregates and measures the performance of anyone giving investment advice. We have two businesses, like two revenue channels. One is a retail-facing website with a freemium where you can subscribe. We have about 500,000 monthly users, and then we have our APIs that power different financial institutions, banks, funds, online brokers, exchanges, etc.
So that's a kind of a dry way of describing it. Uri gave me a demo outside. What you do is cool, is you analyze analysts by name. I mean, you've got thousands of analysts, stock analysts who are saying buy this stock, sell this stock. Usually it's buy, I think. And you're saying how often they're right and how often they're wrong, and you are basically ranking them on a scale 1 to 5. So you can look up analysts for a stock you're interested in, or if you want to find out the track record of an analyst, look that person up and find out, did they get it right or did they get it wrong, right?
Exactly. So we're actually the first company in the world that holds financial experts accountable to what they're saying. And the idea is that if you're investing in the capital markets, you're exposed to so much advice, sell-side analysts on CNBC, financial bloggers on the different blogs, and they have enticing content, and the average investor is influenced by what they're recommending. And we said, wait a minute, you have all these financial experts giving advice, but you can't see anywhere if they're any good or not. And the sad truth is that a big part of them is not very good. And our mission was to actually show the world how good is an advice that they're listening to.
You told me your origin story. Why don't you share that with the crowd here?
So, like most investors, I went online. At one point, I was...
when you had another job.
Yeah. So I was a software engineer at a cyber company in Israel, and most of my colleagues, we were investing in the market, enjoying talking about it. And I ran into this article where an analyst said, 3 reasons you need to buy Tata Motors right now. And that was in
Tata Motors is the Indian, that's the Indian
yeah. And I was happy, I didn't know much about the company. I remember I was in India and I saw the brand a lot of times, the logo. So I said, okay, it makes sense. And he's a professional. I'm not. I'm into cyber. He's into investing. And so I took my yearly bonus and I placed it on that specific stock. And about half a year later, my wife logged into our bank account and she said, what is that? Why do you have this stock with a 60% loss on it? And, I was trying to think, what made me open a position on that specific stock? And I remembered following that advice that I, picked from a very big website. And so I started Googling his name and I found him eventually. And at some point, I created this list that said, where basically I tracked all his recommendations historically, and I realized, look, this guy is wrong most of the time. And I asked myself, why is there no mechanism? Actually, my first thought was that there's probably a mechanism that, or some platform that will show you the accountability or the performance of anyone, because why not? It's so obvious that there would be something like that. But not only did I not find any financial accountability report on anyone, I couldn't find even one resource that actually aggregates all the information. And when I was looking to license the data just so I can measure it, Bloomberg had it, Thomson Reuters had it, the big players had it, but they're pricing it for tens of thousands of dollars a year. And the information eventually, most of it is out there. Like you see a lot of niche websites that provide the information. You see a lot of big websites that provide the information. So we went ahead and developed technology around machine learning and natural language processing that actually analyzes all the web every single second to see what people are saying. And the second that we spot a recommendation, it can be on a blog like Seeking Alpha, it can be an analyst on CNBC, we're going to collect that information and start running the entire internet to see what else did that person said, if it's an analyst or a blogger, and then give you a report of whether or not he is good.
So that guy who made that Tata Motors buy recommendation way back when, is he in your database today?
He's not in our database today
Out of
because
the
he was
business?
in Israel, and our technology is for English. And that recommendation was in Israel, but I owe that guy a lot.
So you offer a free version of this product to the public, to retail investors. How do you make your money?
So first of all, that's a good point. We offer the financial accountability completely for free. So if you're running into an article where you see, this blogger saying that you need to buy this stock or sell that stock, or if you see this analyst, you can see for free his track record.
So if CNBC runs, Yahoo Finance, we have these people all the time. The new call a day is out.
Right.
Oppenheimer says buy or sell or whatever. You can go and say, oh, well, what is that analyst's track record?
Yeah, you can search his name on TipRanks for free, and you're going to see a transparent report. You can even click on each stock he ever recommended to see his track record on that specific stock. The way we monetize our business is by, first of all, the bigger part of our business, like I'd say 70% of our revenues today come from funds, online brokers, and banks that use our data to either create research tools, engaging research tools. So we will work with
for their own clients.
For their own clients. So we will work, with the likes of E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, Saxo, eToro, a long list of these online brokers. A lot of quantitative hedge funds that use our data. And on our website, we have, a plan where you can get more information. You can get information in real time. You can do a lot of slicing and dicing. It's a bit more advanced, and we probably have around 10,000 premium subscribers on our website.
So since you're now looking at all these recommendations in a quantitative way, what have you learned that's surprising? Our analysts, I think you said before, analysts are wrong more than they're right. Can you quantify to the extent that what percentage of buy ratings are bogus?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. The first thing that we did was to see how many of the recommendations generate positive returns. And we found that, first of all, the majority of ratings, like about 80 to 85%, if we ignore hold ratings, which mean nothing, so 80 to 85% are going to be buy ratings. Like you only have 10 to 15% that are sell ratings. When you look at the smaller firms, not the tier one banks, it would be 5%. But the bigger banks feel more comfortable also giving sell ratings. So we found that 52% of the buy ratings generate negative returns, and that's in a bullish market. Right. So like if you bought the S&P, you'd do so much better than the average analyst. But at the same time, we found that if you take the top 10%, 15% of the analysts on the list and you go back to 2012, a big part of them are going to stay on that list. They're consistently outperforming their own sectors.
So stock picking works if you're good?
Yeah, if you know who to listen to, it does work, and that is surprising.
And you think it's not just random? It's not there's always a list of top recommenders rotating to the top?
So it's not that I don't think I know it. I measure it, on a daily basis, and I know as a fact that you have if you look at the top 10%, the turnover is not very big over there. Yeah.
So this is a fintech conference. Let me ask you more broadly about fintech. What are the unmet needs in your space?
Interesting. So first of all, I think everybody here understands that there's a big alternative data revolution, right? Like the big funds, they don't necessarily look at the fundamentals of what the average investor is looking at. They're looking, at interesting data that can give them an edge. It can be satellite pictures, right? Website traffic, news analysis and sentiment, or whatever. And I think what is lacking here is someone who can level the playing field, someone who can take all this expensive information and somehow simplify it and visualize it and make it available to mamas and papas who, don't necessarily know how to read a 10K or don't necessarily know how to read this long spreadsheet with a lot of quantitative data inside.
So is that something you have in mind to do?
That's something that we're trying to do step by step. We are basically taking.
What would you do next? What's a next target after, analyst?
So we have much more than analyst data sets. We have, crowd wisdom where we're analyzing about 500,000 portfolios. We're analyzing corporate filings. We're analyzing a lot of tools, but we're constantly looking for more and more data sets. 2 data sets that we're now looking at are earning transcripts. It's kind of a structured form, so it would be easier for us to understand. Whenever things become unstructured, it's much more complicated. You need to add machine learning, and
So by structured, you mean the CEO makes a statement, the CFO makes a statement, there are questions.
You understand the context of every paragraph. And you can ask simple questions on the data that you analyze. So let's say you have the CEO of Microsoft that is answering questions on the earnings call. And he gets to choose 5, 6 analysts that can answer, can send him questions. Who are going to be these analysts? Are these going to be only bullish analysts, or is these going to be bearish analysts? These are small things that say a lot, about the company.
In other words, so what comes to my mind is, are these set softball questions in a way? Are they asking the most? Are they inviting the most bullish?
Are they asking tough questions, right? So that is one database that one data set that we're looking to make available to everyone for free on TipRanks. The other data set that we started looking into, and is very interesting because we see a lot of alpha when we're doing discretionary tests, is website traffic. So Amazon has Alexa. Alexa has an API. This API is basically free if you know how to code in front of an API. I can basically see how many visitors Disney Plus had way before Disney, like 3 months before Disney is going to tell me how many visitors
you
did it
have. Call me and we'll do that story on Yahoo Finance because that's a hot topic right now, Disney Plus.
No, so that's an example, but basically any e-commerce business, it can be anywhere from Amazon, Netflix, eBay, and we can tell you how many people we would need to guesstimate, but it would be based on something, how many people went to the checkout page and bought a product. So this is something that, if you're a hedge fund and you want to spend $500,000 a year, you can get. But if you're an average investor, there's no way you're going to get access to this information. Our goal is to make, this information available to everyone.
So last thing, you are profitable, right?
Right.
Yes, no WeWork problem here. And everybody wants to know, are you going to go public?
No, we're profitable, but we're very far from, that scale. We raised around, $10 million. We have 45 employees. We are growing at a pace of...
based in Israel?
Most of them are based in Israel. We have 2 account managers out of Israel. We're growing at a pace, like in 2019, we grew about 50%, and we're projecting to grow another 50% next year. But from here to becoming public, you still have another decade.
Yeah. Uri Gruenbaum, TipRanks, thank you.
Thanks a lot.